Origin just from Rex, and this is Why Did Prussia and Austria Stay Neutral in the Crimean War by the channel History Matters. Yeah, okay. So Crimean War obviously I guess was a religious war, like many of them are, about Russia and Ottoman Empire, and I think Russia and France, something about the Orthodox Christian if I remember correctly, right? So that's how the war started. I didn't know that Prussia and Austria didn't join in, but if I were to think, I guess obviously Austria would be like probably geopolitically, basically they were afraid or something, right, to which side to take on, right, because Ottoman Empire and Russia both borders them. Prussia, I don't know why Prussia didn't join in, right? But I can say this for sure. Austria didn't come out good after this. Prussia probably would have, right? That's how it goes, right? Prussia, then later on Germany, always comes out in some better light, right, than Austria, because Prussia and Germany is always the powerful one, while Austria always fuck up something here and there. That so far that's the vibe I'm getting with all the historical videos, but I don't know. So let's see it. Remember, if you like my reacts and don't like subscribe, so I know which type of videos to react to more. Check out the reacts under, there's a link in the season. There'll find a playlist for history with all my historical videos. You'll find History Matter videos there too. And yeah, let's watch it.
When you invite one European great power to a war, it's only polite that you invite them all. Normally, this would see wars grow ever larger, like the 7 Years' War or the French Revolutionary Wars, until everybody was involved. Yet the Crimean War, fought between Russia on the one side and France, Britain, the Ottoman Empire and Sardinia on the other, was contained. Neither the Austrian Empire nor the Kingdom of Prussia got involved.
Alright, like I said, Ottoman Empire, Russia both borders it, right? Prussia, I don't know, but I think that was the reason, like Austria would have been afraid of their security or something, I don't know.
Involved, despite both being able to gain something from it. Which raises the obvious question. Why didn't they get involved? Why did Prussia and Austria stay neutral during the Crimean War? So, since the mid-18th century, the Emperor of Russia had been the protector of the Christian people within the Ottoman Empire. Napoleon III, the Emperor of France, wanted to increase France's prestige and please his Catholic supporters. And so he got the Ottomans to give him the title instead. The Russians protested and placed armies across the Ottoman border, and the Ottomans recanted. Napoleon, none too pleased about this, sent ships to the Ottoman coast and a sack of cash to Constantinople.
So let me get this. This is all about credit. Who's the best Christian, yo? Is it Russia or is it me? Napoleon from...
And they changed their minds again. Enraged, the Russians invaded the Ottoman puppets of Wallachia and Moldavia. This panicked all of the European great powers, who met to sort out a compromise. This compromise was largely that Russia should go home and just...
Russia invaded a certain place and that panicked all the European powers. That doesn't change, does it?
Deal with it. And shockingly, the Russian Emperor Nicholas I refused. As such, for both Britain and France, war would keep the declining Ottomans strong enough to be a permanent thorn in Russia's side. So why did Austria and Prussia not get involved? Well, the Austrian Empire had recently become a close friend of Russia, especially after Russian troops put down the Hungarian Revolution half a decade prior. As such, the Russians expected the Austrians to pressure Britain and France to de-escalate or even join the war on their side. Yet, as you'll know, they did not. In fact, the Austrians were extremely worried about Russian troops marching to their south. Its emperor, Franz Joseph, yes, he lived that long, saw the Balkans as Austria's rightful sphere of influence. In fact, as the war continued, Austria built up its forces along the southern border, which meant that Russian forces had to stay there in case of an invasion.
Oh my god. I just thought of it. I mean, this is, I realized that what if Austria had helped Russia? How would a World War I would have gone? Right? I mean, only reason, Russia basically joined in, right? To defend basically against Austria, right, because of the ally. But if Austria was also Russia's ally, would Russia would have mobilized? If Russia didn't mobilize, would Germany would have got on, right? Germany would have attacked France if they knew that Austria is going to be fine. Russia is not going to go against it. How different World War I would have been if Austria right here would have like, okay, I'm gonna be friend to Russia and I'm gonna do what they want. Damn, this is why I love history. Watching this small thing, small decision, small butterfly effect that has a large consequences. If no World War I, there wouldn't have been a World War II. I mean, I highly doubt that, right? There would be, again, if the World War I wouldn't have started when it did, eventually would have started because the tension was always there.
Russia soon agreed to leave, and the Austrians occupied the Ottoman puppet states to its south. It did this for two reasons. The first was to nominally protect its southern border, but the real hope was that they'd just sort of be given it after the war. And the second reason was that Austria still wanted to preserve the balance of power. And the reason that it needed to keep its army in position was that its leaders were deeply concerned that Russia was going to be carved up, which was a legitimate concern and brings us on to Prussia. So the Prussians also stayed out of the war despite both sides trying to get them involved. The British had secretly offered the Prussians these lands if they invaded, and also offered Finland back to Sweden if it also got involved. The king chose not to. This wasn't out of altruism, but because Prussian sentiment.
Oh, so British promised them land, and they didn't decide like, okay, like, let's go with Britain. Yeah, Britain, promised us this land's gonna be ours. I wonder why they didn't do that.
For both sides was so strong that he didn't want to cause long-term damage to its internal harmony. Another reason which kept Prussia neutral was that since the Baltic and Black Seas were blockaded, Russia could only really trade with Prussia, which was very lucrative. And with that, the Prussians just sort of sat the war out, and without them there was no way that Sweden-Norway was going to get involved. And this is where those Austrian troops were useful. Austria's plan was that these troops were now there to pressure the Ottoman flank and dissuade the Allies from marching too far into Russia. The Austrians stressed that the losses France had suffered in Crimea would leave it vulnerable to a war with Prussia. This, combined with the expense of the conflict, meant that Britain and the Ottomans were now under pressure to swiftly end the war. And
see, the thing with the Sweden, Norway is like Scandinavians know, like it's not wise to piss off, Prussia, right? Because for centuries and centuries that has been the issue. Like, okay, this is the big gun right here. It's not good to piss them off. Like they're not going against Russia, so we're not going to do that either.
Without major territorial concessions from Russia. In the short term, Austria's proactive neutrality saw them avoid conflict whilst appearing strong. Long term, though, it meant that the Russian emperors now sort of hated them and favoured Prussia, meaning that when the two went to war a decade later, Russia made no attempts to help their former Austrian allies. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and a special thanks to my patrons, James Bisonet, Kelly Moneymaker, Swan, Marvin Cassow.
Yep, so there we go. Damn, that was interesting. Like Austria stayed neutral, but yeah, they kind of, like, I predicted that right at the start of it. Like Austria staying neutral, somehow Austria is not gonna come out good, and yeah, like as I said, decades later, Russia didn't help Austria, and Prussia just got profit. Alright, Prussia stayed neutral, and they basically made money because it was economically profitable to stay with Russia and not make them enemy. Damn. This just shows you, like, your just overall power, right? How it plays it, right? Austria struggling, needing ally in the end. Russia's not gonna, caring about that. But Prussia's already being strong. So Sweden, like, oh, we're not gonna join if Prussia's not gonna join. And Prussia's like, yeah, we're making profit with Russia. Why would we join? That's some badass shit right there. Well, that was why did Prussia and Austria stay neutral in the Crimean War. Well, the channel History Matters. If you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.